Well, welcome to the BrandonJaneauShow. As you know, I am Brandon and like always on all podcast platforms everywhere. BrandonJaneauShow. Social media platforms, Instagram threads, BrandonJaneau, Facebook, The BrandonJaneauShow, and of course, TikTok, BrandonJaneauShow. Go follow me on all those social media platforms. I duly appreciate, I would deeply appreciate you if you did. Really, when you go to the YouTube channel, man, like the YouTube channel, Brand New Show is the YouTube channel. Go like the shorts, like the videos. Uh, yeah, like it all, man. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. Brand New Show, man. It helps tremendously, man. I hope you guys enjoy this episode because tonight it is pretty much the last, I believe, sports pretty much for a Monday, for a minute. Um, it is I believe sports. Of course, tonight I will be talking week one of college football. There's been people that's jumping out the window because it's week one and it's overreactions and it's all this other shit. Of course, this week is officially the NFL's turn to have their first week one. I will be giving my big four of the NFL coming into the NFL season. To me, also my levels of warning: yellow, red, well, yellow, orange, red. Talk about those three teams. I am very just shit on. Of course, college football, crazy six. My crazy six. I got my eyes on college football for week two. Uh, yeah. Um, so let's get into it, man. But let's start it off like this. So, so we are 12 days away from the fight that everybody has either been anticipating or questioning or just not believing it's going to really physically happen. It's officially 12 days to Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. They will be fighting each other in 12 days in Vegas on Netflix, live on Netflix. Of course, everybody is extremely excited about this fight. If you're a boxing fan, you want to see how this is going to look. If you're a casual fan of Terrence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez, you are close to having an invested interest into this fight. For me, for me, I feel like this fight is. I hope it lives up to the hype, and that's all I can have. I hope. But what hype? And that's where I think I'm really having the hardest time with it. What is the hype? What is the hype? If you have been following Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford's career, then yeah, you are super excited for this opportunity for him. You were like, damn, about time he's getting this opportunity. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's see what this is gonna look like. So that's awesome. If you're a Canelo fan, you're like, oh man, just another person on the resume. Let's see how this is gonna go. But as a fan of boxing, it does not change the facts that Terrence Crawford is moving up literally to a weight class that he's only had one fight in. It's kind of hard for me to just jump out the window and get excited for somebody that literally has only had one goddamn fight in the middleweight division. It's kind of hard for me to get excited about that, especially when that one fight he looked kind of out of it. Like he didn't look like really good in that fight. He won, but it wasn't like he was dominant. And you fight Canelo Alvarez your second fight in the middleweight division. Like that is kind of crazy. Um, have I been hyped for this fight? Somewhat, but not like crazy hyped. I always thought Canelo kind of like back his way out of it. I thought he always found a way to get out of it a little bit. But since the fight is here, we're literally, like I said, 12 days away from this fight. Um, I don't know how this fight's gonna go. I have no idea. I got literally a week. Next week will be my last week to really talk about this fight, but the hype of this fight is gonna be interesting. My feeling on this is this, man. Canelo is damn if he do, damn if he don't. He wins the fight. Canelo fans are gonna jump up and down, say he's the greatest boxer of all time. People in the media are gonna scream he's the greatest boxer of all time. If Bud wins this fight, they're gonna literally sit there and say Bud's the greatest boxer of all time. Bud has look at this resume he has. He's literally the first ever man to ever, first ever boxer ever to have three, to be undisputed champion in three different weight classes. That is crazy. Here's why I don't have so much anticipation for this fight because I feel like this fight can go two ways. It can go like Canelo and Charlo, which was just a complete and utter just ass whooping, or it could go, or it could be a real contender. It could really be a fight. I have no idea what Bud is going to look like in this fight. I'm not really too worried about Canelo. I'm more so worried about Bud. I have no idea what Bud Crawford's going to look like in this fight. I have no clue. Again, this is this man's second fight in the middleweight division. Nobody can tell me that he's going to look like he did against Earl Spence or Sean Porter. And Sean Porter fight, he's a little iffy in that fight for most of that fight, or the Kell Brook fight, like Kell Brook fight. Like I don't know if he's going to be that tuned in, but we should see. Is this the first time we see Crawford really just, I hate to say it, but take the money in the fight, and you can tell like, oh, he's not even trying to engage. Like he's not even trying to like go at him. Like, and I'm not sitting there saying I saw Crawford have fights like that. Never. That's why I said the first time because there is a very interesting stigma of like, yo, you get to this position, and this is probably the most money you've seen in your entire career. Are you just content with the money? And like I said, Crawford has had some interviews the last couple of years where I feel like since the Spence fight, he's talked a lot. Like he's talked a lot. Like, oh, Al Spence really ain't no Hall of Famer and all this other shit. I'm like, bro, nigga, you don't really have that much resume to be sitting there saying that somebody's not a Hall of Famer, nigga. Who Spence is the greatest thing you've had on your resume. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is why I feel like this is the really the most interesting situation because Crawford needs this fight more than Canelo. He actually needs this fight more than Canelo. I know a couple weeks ago, I think I said, does Canelo need this fight more than Crawford? But I think Crawford needs this fight way more than Canelo. The reason why I say Crawford needs this fight way more than Canelo is because of all the shit you've talked about, all the shit you've said, all the things you have clearly thought you clearly think you're already the greatest to ever do it. If you do not win this fight, you lose your undefeated streak. You lose, not undefeated anymore. And now we start to look at you like, yeah, you dominated the welterweight division, but I don't think you can dominate the middleweight. You've had two fights, and you did not look great in either of them fights. I'm not saying Crawford got to knock out Canelo. That's no, but you got to be there. You got to be engaged. You got to want to fight. You got to want to whoop his ass. These this fight is so weird to me because I don't know what the fuck is gonna actually be. I have not one single solitary idea of what the actual fight is gonna be. I have not a clue. And for some people that's a good thing, right? Because that's a good thing. It's good. You want it to be like you don't know. You want it to feel like anything is possible. You want that. The problem with that is is that I don't know what type of Bud Crawford I'm getting in this fight. That's a problem. Like I said, I know what type of Canelo I'm getting, or do I? Because Canelo's had some fights these last couple of times where he really hasn't really tried to really dominated as much. He's hit some people here and there, maybe here and there, but he's not really trying to like engage. After he kind of like got the rounds under his belt, he kind of just kind of like stays away from it. He doesn't really want to engage too much. So this is why I'm kind of like I don't know. I'm a little iffy on this fight. I'm listen, like I said, next week it will be finally fight week. Maybe I'll be a little bit more like, yeah, let's go. Maybe I will be a little bit more like, yeah, let's go. Next week, but this week, I am very iffy on this the fucking fight. I have no clue what this fight's gonna actually physically look like, and I'm a little bit weird by it. I have not a fucking clue. We got 12 days before this fight actually happens. They're gonna start doing press conferences, I think, this week, going into next week. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a little bit iffy on this goddamn fight. I have no idea what the hell's gonna happen. Not a clue. College football. So people are losing their goddamn minds. It's overreaction week. Of course, because it's college. You got people that's like, oh, Penn State's awesome. Or, look at Penn State, look at Georgia. And I immediately would say, well, look at the teams they played. Georgia and Penn State are literally not paying anybody until they pretty much get to conference play. So I can even give you a full understanding of this. This is why I've always said I don't have the same type of feel towards a Oregon or a Penn State or a Ole Miss. Like every year you say the same shit about them, and every year they play against that one team and they can't get over it. Here's my thing. Arch Manning. I said last week when I did the prediction show, when I did my show last week, I literally said the jury is still on Arch Manning. Nobody knows if this kid could actually play in a real live game with actual real competition coming back at him. This isn't just a one-off anymore. This isn't just you get in a blowout or Quentin Ayers gets hurt and then you jump in the game. Like it wasn't like that. You actually had to start and finish the game. You had to go through the ups and the downs. You had to go through all the emotions. That is why I never was a super huge fan of just people just out the window screaming that Arch Manning was going to be great. I didn't understand it. Like, what the fuck are you watching? Like, you have seen a kid be in college for 3 years. This is his third year as a Texas quarterback. And yet, this fucking team looked completely and utterly for 3 fucking quarters. They looked completely and utterly out of it. 3 quarters. 3 straight quarters. They looked like they didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. That's a problem. That's a massive, 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 massive fucking problem. It's not like this fucking and there's the announcers try to make excuses for this shit. Oh man, the offense that you usually would see with Texas is different. Why the fuck is it different? Steve Sarkisian, and this is also on Steve Sarkisian. Why was that offense different? This man has been in that offense for 3 years, 2.5, pretty much. Now it's his third year. For 2.5 years, he's been in that offense. The same offense Quentin Ayers has ran. You got a more athletic quarterback now can run that offense, and yet you thought it was a great idea to switch it up. That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid, and now again it goes into Steve Sarkisian. It makes Steve Sarkisian look like he don't know what the fuck he is doing. And if that is the case, we're gonna start having to have a conversation about him and Lincoln Riley and all these other fucking people. So I've said this numerous times. There's certain coaches, James Franklin, what's the Oregon head coach dude? That dude, like there are certain coaches that Brian Kelly. I've been on Brian Kelly's ass as an LSU fan for fucking years. He finally got one this past week, but I'm still like, oh yeah, we got one on LSU. We're gonna change the whole spectrum. The situation is this. Steve Sarkisian might not be able to fucking win big games. We need to start having conversations about this shit because he can't escape this anymore. You had the SEC championship one, and then you lost to Georgia last year. You had the game against Ohio. You had the game against Ohio State. Hell, you almost lost against Arizona State last year in the goddamn college playoffs. Like, bro, you played and had a coach, and then you had a game last year in the college playoffs, and same team, different players, lost to Ohio State. And Ryan Day had that same stigma. And here's the thing: until Ryan Day beats Michigan, you still can't beat Michigan. That's just the facts. Steve Sarkisian might be the most overhyped head coach in college football still standing. Ryan Day, we now know what Ryan Day is. We're not going to get too overly emotional about Ryan Day. Ryan Day is who he is. Arch got put in a situation where the offense did not match his ability. And then you had a moment where at the end of the fourth quarter, when the fourth quarter finally happened, and when the fourth quarter finally happened, he finally woke the fuck up because they gave him the offense he pretty much already had. Yes, all of this is 50% Arch Manning because he just wasn't prepared for this. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. People are making excuses about the defenses that he saw. I don't give a shit about the defenses that he saw. I don't give a shit about this defense. You, as a fucking quarterback and as a head coach and as a team, should have had this kid prepped and ready to go. You've been in this team for 2.5, 3 years. This was your first actual real start in a big game situation, and you shit the bed. You shit the bed. We can debate on everything else. Do I think Archman is going to turn it around at the end of the year? Of course he is. He's not going to be bad the entire fucking season. That's crazy. What I do believe, though, is that it's not him. It's Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian is going to put him in some fucked up situations because he can't handle the fucking moment. Arch Manning might not be as bad as we think he is, but Texas is in a fucking problem. Oh, Texas got a problem. Don't get it twisted. Oh, Texas got a problem. You can sit here and lie like a lot of people will. Texas got a problem, and it might not be Arch Manning. It really might be Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian might not be able to fucking coach a massive game. He fucking folds in big games. How many times do we have to see this now to know he folds in big fucking games? He folded last year. He folded a couple years ago when Oklahoma beat him. He folds in big fucking games. This is what he does. Texas might be okay if they avoid Georgia, if they avoid Ole Miss, if they avoid LSU, if they avoid these teams. Yeah, he might win. He can beat these so-called teams. But once he start playing against like South Carolinas and shit like that, I think he folds. And he might rely more on his players, but his players are only there to get shit done. But if the head coach puts them in fucked up situations, there's only so much they can do. Steve Sarkisian, we need to start having a real, actual conversation about because this is now. And here's the thing: that was Archie's first time in a big moment. He folded. You've been in those big moments for the last couple of years. You always fucking fold. I'm not saying Arch Manning's game is 100% just not on Arch Manning. No, Arch Manning in the media gave him too much credit for something he never fucking done. This is why the media's hype is fucking stupid to have. Your first actual real game on the road against the defending national champions, and he folded like that. That's what the fuck was supposed to happen. This is why I do not give too much of a fuck about what the media thinks of anything nowadays. These motherfuckers don't know shit. They go off of what they hope, pray, and wish for. You got motherfuckers on TV trying to find ways to explain how Arch Manning did not look good in that game, but can't find a way to explain how he did not look good in that game. Oh, because he played against the offense, he played against the NFL defense. Okay, and like, like the example, the explanation of why he looked bad is just the fact that look, bro, it was his first time playing against real competition, and he just didn't look good. Also, his head coach probably sucks when it matters most in big fucking games. We now have enough information on Steve Sarkisian that he sucks in big games. Arch Manning may be good. He may turn it around, or he may fucking not. And here's the thing about the media. You have to admit that he might not be able to be a great quarterback. Can he grow into it? Maybe. But this is why I've always had this fucking problem when sports media, especially nowadays, you want to crown somebody before they even do a lick of fucking work. You want to tell everybody how somebody's a generational talent before they even play the fucking game. I've had to hear generational talent about every fucking quarterback I've seen in the last couple of years. Trevor Lawrence was a generational talent. How's that working out for you? Caleb Williams is a generational talent. This motherfucker can't hike the ball under center. He can't even play under center. Fuck out of here. And now Arch Manning. Oh, he's a generational talent. You ain't seen this nigga play college football ever. But he's a generational talent. Fuck out of here, dude. Fuck out of here, dog. Alabama. You ain't exempt from this shit either. Alabama's done. And I know people are going to sit there and say, oh, bro, you're just saying that because of the game. No, Alabama's been cooked since last year. People just never wanted to admit it. They got saved a lot last year because of how good Jalen Monroe was. But if you watched Alabama last year, you saw this coming. I don't know what the fuck y'all are watching. You saw this coming. You saw this Alabama decline. You saw it. You saw it coming last year if you actually was paying attention. I'm not surprised that they got their ass beat by Florida State. Not even in the slightest. Florida State beating Alabama when the season that Florida State had last year? How bad that season looked last year for Florida State? But them to turn it around in one game and look like that against Alabama, now here's the thing. I don't know if Florida State is going to be this great goddamn team moving forward. Hell no, nobody knows that. But the dominance of that game was very apparent because Alabama just looks like their head coach is just not a fit. And Kellen DeBoer, the head coach of Alabama, you're not Nick Saban. You're not. Nobody's asking you to be Nick Saban. The problem is that now we can officially say Michael Penix Jr. is the reason why you look good at Washington. That offensive line at Washington is the reason why you look good in Washington. That receiving core in Washington is why you look good in Washington. He has never put a good defense out there. Even go back and look at Washington Huskies when Michael Penix was there for the last couple of years. He was never in a good situation defensively. Alabama's defense sucked last year. They sucked last year. Who the fuck told y'all that Alabama's defense didn't suck last year? Alabama's defense was terrible last year. Fucking god awful. And now you looking at this season and they look like they looked in the first weekend, like, oh my God, they could bounce back. No, the fuck they can't. This is a team in Alabama. And then on top of that, you don't have the players offensively to change the conversation. So that's the one thing about Alabama's teams for all of the years that they've been a team. Even, with Nick Saban. They always had the top recruiting class. Outside of Ryan Williams, the receiver, name me one person on Alabama's team offensively that you know. Ty Simpson. And Ty Simpson been there since what? Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young and Tua? Like he's been there since what? Bryce Young? You telling me you could have left Alabama and hit the transfer portal and you've been there for 4 fucking years and you've had Bryce Young and Jalen Monroe come take the starting job for 2 years straight and you couldn't do shit? You had you had a freshman. You've had literally two freshmen in front of you. Bryce Young, you was in a Bryce Young class when you got there. You let Jalen Monroe take your job, and now you're a starter. Alabama was doomed for this. People don't remember Alabama before Nick Saban got there. I do. I remember Alabama before Nick Saban got there. They looked fucking terrible. They were like a 5-win team every fucking season. Alabama was a 5-win team every fucking season. They never recruited crazy players like that. They were never a great recruiting class. Nick Saban brought a lot of shine to that team. Winning definitely fucking improved Alabama. But here's the thing: nobody wants to go to no fucking Alabama, especially if you're not winning. Alabama is going to bounce back. They're going to have those moments. But I'm going to tell you the truth, man. If Alabama, this is the year Alabama's going to look. Like I posted this on Facebook when this game was going on. I said Alabama could literally turn into Florida State of last year. Alabama could look like Florida State of last year. And if you watch Florida State last year, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Alabama could look like Florida State of last year, where it's just like, holy shit, this shit exploded very fastly. What's another team? Oh, Clemson. Clemson lost. You can sit there and say, oh, it's because they didn't have the number one receiver. Bro, you didn't score 10 points. You scored 10 points in the first half. And one of those points came off of a turnover by LSU. You're supposed to have this Heisman candidate quarterback, and because he has not one receiver on the field, he looked like that the rest of the game. That's completely and utterly just terrible. You ran the ball for 31 yards. That's a fucking problem. Like, you ran the ball for 31 yards. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a massive fucking problem. I thought Clemson could at least wake the fuck up and have one of these games where they can show people they're back. But I don't think Clemson is back. I think the ACC is better than what people think they are. I think the ACC is way better than what people think they are. Miami's won, Florida State. But then you look at the ACC, yo, like look at the ACC, bro. Cal can be something this season. California could be something this season. If California could be something this season, you got, of course, like I said, Miami, Boston, Florida State. You got a lot of teams in the ACC that can't actually be the team in the ACC. The fact that Clemson, and then you still got your Louisvilles, you still got Syracuse, even though they didn't look good against Tennessee. You still got your teams that can kind of show up and show out at the last second. So Clemson losing this game to LSU is maybe a one-off, but the fact that you look like that at home against LSU, who a lot of people came into the season thinking we don't know what the defense is going to look like. Brian Kelly's never won a first game to start off the season. He's never won a big game in most of his coaching career, and he shut you down in the second half. That defense completely and utterly shut y'all the fuck down in the second half. You scored a touchdown off of a turnover. That's it. Like, you scored 10 points in the first half, and you were at home, and you're supposed to have the Heisman candidate quarterback. I'm not out on Clemson, but that's a disturbing ass loss to have at the first game of the season when you have more of the seniors on your side of the football, and you lost. Crazy six of college football. Last week, my crazy six was, kind of doing from the start. Doing from the start. Let's get into it, man. So here's my first team. First team is still the Ohio State Buckeyes. I had them number one last week, the number one this week still. Beating Texas 14-7 in the season opener at home. Um, like I said when the game happened, if they had a veteran, actual veteran quarterback, a more experienced quarterback, that's a blowout. I don't even think it's a close fucking game. I think Texas gets blown out. Ohio State's defense was better than theirs. Jeremiah Smith had crazy amounts of opportunities to get big open wide receiver catchings. They just didn't trust their receiver. I mean their quarterback, which is cool. No shade to their quarterback because their quarterback is what it is. But yeah, I'm not too surprised at how Ohio State played this game. They played a pretty smart game. They played a pretty interesting fucking game. To be 14-7 and that's it, cool. Um, but Ohio State's number one still for me. I don't know how the polls are going to shape up. I think the polls come out either tomorrow or Wednesday. I can't remember. Maybe sometime before the actual week 2 starts off. They were third last week in the actual polls. They're probably going to either be second or first, depending on how they look at about LSU and their victory, or Miami and their victory against Notre Dame. But for me, Ohio State is still number one. Number two, it is the Miami Hurricanes. They played last night. A hell of a game. I was close to putting Notre Dame on this list. I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought Notre Dame had an amazing football game last night. I like the CJ Carr. They actually look like an offense. Notre Dame actually looked like a fucking offense. Something that I was very, very, and I mean very, very questionable about. I didn't trust that, Notre Dame had a actual really good like offense like that. But they woke up. They had a really good game last night, offensively. Miami just had a better one. And Carson Beck, holy shit, Carson Beck actually looked like a quarterback last night. He actually looked like a guy that could go in the first round of a draft. He handled himself pretty goddamn well. I'm pretty shocked by that. Especially against that Notre Dame defense. He had some moments in that game, man. He played his ass off. I gotta give him his credit. He played his ass off, man. Miami is one of those teams that's very interesting to see. Like I said, if Miami could just get a defense, the offense was never the problem. If that defense could just be good, if that defense could be just good enough, I think Miami, I think Miami actually win the ACC this year. I think Miami could actually win the ACC this year. That sounds absolutely crazy. I know it does. But I think Miami could actually win the ACC this year. Um, if Carson Beck could stay upright and actually play like he played last night, Miami could actually win the ACC this year. Also, Ohio State plays Grambling this weekend in Ohio State. I feel so bad for Grambling. They don't deserve this shit. Miami plays Bether this week, uh, in Miami. So we'll see how that looks. Number three, my third team is LSU. Now, they weren't on my list last week. Reason why, because like I kept saying, I didn't trust Brian Kelly in big games. I still don't trust Brian Kelly in big games. But that game, I'm gonna let him slide because I did not think we were going to win that fucking game. Let's get that out the way. But we did. And now this week we got Louisiana Tech. I got us third. Like I said, I still got to see how this team is going to actually look. Again, motivation is a hell of a thing. Can we stay motivated for the entire fucking year? I do not know. That was the best defensive performance I've seen from LSU in like ever. Like in a very long goddamn time. I haven't seen that type of defensive performance from LSU in a very long time. So if we can keep that same defense throughout the rest of the year and that offense continues to improve, like running the fucking football, I could not believe we actually had a running game Saturday. We had none last year. We had a running game this game. I liked it. If we can continue to improve, it'll be pretty goddamn interesting to see how LSU moves moving forward. But like I said, we played Louisiana Tech this weekend and LSU. Can we see how that's gonna look? Number 4, have the Oregon Ducks. They also 1-0. Um, they play against Oklahoma State this week. Oregon's such a weird team. Again, I don't put any stock in how they look in these first couple of weeks. Um, I don't put any stock in it. Is Oklahoma State is the Oklahoma State game a very interesting game? Yeah, I mean Oklahoma State can actually give Oregon somewhat of a problem defensively. Oklahoma State has got a good offense, but defensively, Oklahoma State can actually easily and utterly lose the game before it even starts. Do I think Oregon is one of the best teams in college football? Listen, now here's the thing: a lot of people are gonna sit here and realize that I don't, because the next two teams I do not have Penn State on my list. Now Penn State beat Nevada, and I don't also have Georgia on my list. Again, it's hard to judge a team when you're playing against absolutely no fucking body. I can't judge you when you play against nobody. I can't. It's hard to judge Oregon, and they played nobody last week. They played what, Montana State, I think it was. This week, hopefully, we can get more of a clearance of what Oregon is. But again, I can't put too much stock in Oregon in these next couple of weeks because until you play Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Washington, I don't say USC, UCLA, Utah. Like, well, Utah's in the Big 12, not the Big 10. But once you start playing actual teams like Michigan, Ohio State, even Penn State, like until you start playing actual Big 10 teams, I can't really give you too much credit. I don't know what you're gonna look like in those types of games, so it's hard for me to judge you. Number 5, South Carolina. You know what's crazy? South Carolina can actually win SEC this year. South Carolina can actually get to the college playoffs this year. South Carolina actually has a team. They're fifth right now. I would not be surprised by the end of this year. They're in the top. They're either 2 or 1. South Carolina has a really good fucking team. And they have a really good head coach. Um, yeah, man. I think South Carolina being fifth, there's a reason for it. And they beat the hell out of Virginia Tech last night. Yesterday. They played South Carolina State, so that's gonna be pretty interesting to see. But let's be real, South Carolina's gonna probably run those dudes out the fucking building. And my sixth team is the Michigan Wolverines, 1-0. They go to Oklahoma this upcoming weekend, and I'll talk about that game in a minute. But Michigan, 1-0. They also played against pretty much fucking nobody. But Bryce Underwood, the number 1 recruit, I still don't like him for taking the money and running from LSU to Michigan, punk bastard. But anyway, he is as hyped as everybody think he is. This weekend is going to be very goddamn interesting to see because he plays against Oklahoma. Like I said, that's going to be an intriguing fucking game to watch this upcoming weekend, ladies and gentlemen. But Michigan might be something this year. And again, that Big Ten isn't as crazy as people think. Like I said, Michigan plays Penn State this year, or I know Michigan plays Ohio State this year, and they play them in the big house. So if those two teams stay upright, that could be a massive fucking game, like a massive fucking game. And like I said, I don't trust Oregon against Michigan if Bryce Underwood is actually as good as everybody thinks he is, and he continues to play like he played. And I want to just also say this: if a fucking freshman played like that this week, and I know he played against nobody, but a third-year fucking player couldn't do that, I don't think we need to start giving motherfuckers credit for shit. I mean, like, this shit. The fact that that game, oh man, I'm just very like, what the fuck, bro? Yeah. But you had a freshman go out there and do what they did. Again, they played against a nobody, but that's still a crazy, crazy situation. Also, college football, week 2. You already know I do this. Skeptical game of the week, most interesting game of the week, my upset game of the week, and my game of the week. So let's get started. Skeptical game of the week. It is South Florida versus Florida. Florida dominated. I forget who the hell they played. They played some team that don't really matter. And South Florida absolutely unceremoniously beat the shit out of Boise State. They beat their ass from pillar to post. That shit was bad, man. And we officially can put this to also bad that Austin Gentry is literally the reason for why Boise State was even a worthy fucking team last year because they got their ass. South Florida might be a good team this year, man. Like a really good fucking team. And not to mention, even when they weren't a great team the last couple of years, they gave Alabama a scare a couple of years ago. Like this South Florida team plays hard when they play actual real teams. And Florida is one of those teams that we just expect to just walk through the season and have no problems until they start playing against actual competition. This game could be one of those games where they really struggle. And I mean struggle fast. South Florida actually has a really good defense. They may be exactly what we think they are. I think this is gonna be a pretty good fucking game. I think this is gonna be one of the best games of week 2. I would not be surprised if they actually upset. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually upset Florida. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. South Florida's probably gonna be in the polls. So probably about 20, I'd say 20, 21 in the 20s. Especially after what they did to Boise State. They're gonna be in the polls. And Florida's gonna probably fall into like the at least close to the top 10. So it's not gonna be like a crazy game if South Florida actually beats Florida. I like if they beat them, to some it'd be an upset, but to me it'd be like, nah, that like makes sense. Most interesting game of the week, and that's Iowa versus Iowa State. Um, this is of course a rivalry game of all rivalry games. Um, Iowa State is 2-0. Iowa State is going to continuously move forward because they got a victory over Kansas State. It's kind of funny how Kansas State kind of live like in front of Iowa State more than it's like what the fuck they beat them. Anyway, Iowa State and Iowa play this week. I can't wait to watch this game. I think Iowa State is always one of those teams, especially early in the season, that's very interesting to watch. And again, this is a Big 12 team versus a Big 10 team. We shall see how this looks. But for me personally, I think Iowa could beat Iowa State this year. I think Iowa beats Iowa State. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how this game is going to play out. But I do think Iowa State also defensively, I mean offensively, Iowa State offensively can give Iowa a lot of fucking problems. Iowa defensively has always been great. It's just been the offense. But this rivalry game is gonna be real. This is gonna be a good fucking game. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm actually looking forward. Last year's game was pretty goddamn crazy. This game is gonna be good. This is gonna be one of those games that you like. Ooh, yeah. My upset game of the week, and that's UNL Monroe, University of Louisiana Monroe, versus Alabama. I get it. I know people are gonna sit there and say, Brandon, you out your mind for saying that Alabama's gonna lose to Louisiana Moreau. Come on, bro. Like, come on, man. You can't say that. Here's the reason why I'm saying this. Here is the reason why I'm saying this. I don't think you understand what I mean by last year. Last year, I literally said Boston College was going to go to Florida State and beat Florida State, and people thought I was fucking nuts for saying that. I'm saying it again this year. Alabama does not have the defense to stop anyone. I don't think you understand this shit. Alabama does not have the defense to stop anyone. In the offense, yeah, might score. They're gonna put some points up. But if Louisiana Monroe goes up on Alabama, it's gonna be hard to get them to catch them. Just like Florida State last week. Once Florida State got up, it was just about Florida State keeping the game, you know, just keeping the ball in their hands, killing the clock. Same thing with this game. I don't think people are ready to hear Alabama might lose a game like that. They can definitely fucking lose. They can definitely fucking lose. In my game of the week, it is Michigan versus Oklahoma. Like I said, Bryce Underwood looked amazing last week. Again, granted, freshman playing against absolutely no one, and at home. This is his first true road test at Oklahoma. Oklahoma should be extremely better than they were last year. But I think Michigan has more of a pedigree than Oklahoma does at this moment. And I think Michigan can actually beat Oklahoma. And that is why I feel like Michigan probably takes this in Oklahoma. I think Bryce Underwood shows up and shows out in this game. I think he I think he has at least 200 passing yards, 100 yards rushing. Yeah. NFL. Pick four. If you don't know how to do this, it's my four teams that I feel every week in the NFL is just that fucking four teams. Now everybody has top fives, everybody got top tens. For me, it's just four. Four teams. We don't need to do all that other shit. Just four teams. Start out the list. Number one, out the gate. It is obviously the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Are we fucking crazy? Like the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles are the number one team coming into the season. Anybody tells you that they're not, I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. Like Philadelphia, yeah, they lost some pieces. Yeah, they lost some things. But if it's one team that I believe that can turn it around, it's Philly. You still got Jalen Carter, still got Jordan Davis. You drafted Jahad Campbell from Alabama, who was one of the top fucking linebackers in the draft. He just somehow, some way fell to 32 or 31 or whatever the fuck they drafted. He just fell to the Philadelphia Eagles. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, Philadelphia. I said this once, but I don't think it will happen. But Philly has the chance to repeat, man. I do believe Philly does have the chance to repeat. Now, one of these teams on this list has made it extremely interesting to see how that's going to actually play out now. But for the most part, I got the Eagles at number one. They play the Cowboys this Thursday, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Number two, the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, to me, second best team in the NFL. Look at the roster, look at the team. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. You signed DeAndre Hopkins. You got the kid Walker that you drafted last year from North Carolina. I expect this offense to just take off. You got both tight ends, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. That offensive line is pretty decent, pretty stacked. You still have Stanley there, Ronnie Stanley, who you re-signed, re-upped, kept him there. And then that defense late last year just took off late last year. And then you add Malik Starks, who was one of the best safeties going into the draft last year. I don't know how the fuck he fell to the Ravens at 28, 29, whenever that fuck they picked. But thank you, NFL, you dumb motherfuckers. Malik Starks is now there, and now you got Kyle Hamilton and Malik Starks for the next couple of years. Not to mention the secondary of the Ravens. That's just the safeties. I didn't even get to the actual secondary. Marlon Humphrey. Who else? Marlon Humphrey. You drafted. You got Nate Wiggins, who you drafted last year from Clemson, and who also just fell to you by some fucking miracle. And then you also signed Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. You still got Raekwon Smith as the middle linebacker. And you drafted Mike Green, who was the leading sack. He was the leading sack player, led the NCAA last year in sacks at Marshall. And you drafted him in the second round this previous draft. Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens. They go to Buffalo this upcoming weekend, and good fucking luck. Good luck, fucking luck to Buffalo. Good fucking luck, dude. Number 3, it is that aforementioned team that I was just talking about, and that is the Green Bay Packers. Listen, Green Bay Packers success, fortunes, everything got richer this past week by getting Micah Parsons to add to a defense that already was fucking stacked to the gills, and now you just add another goddamn pass rusher. The one problem with the Green Bay Packers for the last couple of years have been kind of getting to the quarterback. Well, guess what? You just got a motherfucker that's been leading the league, who's a top 10, who's had 10 sacks every goddamn year since he's been in the league. At least 10 sacks every year he's been in the league. Green Bay plays against the Detroit Lions this upcoming weekend. I love Detroit, but ooh, shit. And nobody knows if Michael Parsons is actually going to really even play week 1 because he's dealing still with his back, but we shall see. And number 4, here's the shocker. I got the Patriots. I am all on the I got all my stock on the Patriots this year. I think the Patriots are going to be amazing this year. I think Drake May with Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams and Jalen Polk and then you got Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson. You got Will Campbell, who's protecting his left side. Like, bro, this is fucking ridiculous. And then not to mention what the Patriots defense is too. And they had one of the best off seasons, draft, free agency. They got everything they ever needed. And then Mike Vrabel, who was one hell of a head coach to begin with, is now the New England Patriots head coach, who should have never been fired from Tennessee in the first fucking place. Yeah, Patriots gonna be different. They play the Raiders, and like me and my brother Juan said yesterday on our show, that's gonna be an interesting fucking game. Levels of one in the NFL. Levels of one of the NFL. I picked 3 teams: yellow, caution; orange, panic time; and of course, red is just good old DOA. Y'all wanna know who starts off the season with these situations? I'll tell you. Yellow, caution. For me, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, man, I do not trust Pittsburgh. Let me take that back. I trust every player on Pittsburgh except Aaron Rodgers. I'll say it like that. I trust every player on the Pittsburgh Steelers except Aaron Rodgers. And I know that sounds so fucked up, but it's just facts. I trust every player on the Steelers except Aaron Rodgers. No offense to Aaron Rodgers. It's just, you can't convince me, a 40, 41-year-old man who's had his worst years the last 2, 3 years that we've seen him is just now going to turn it around and have a great year because that's what everybody in the media wants. This is not Mike Tomlin's fault. The defense is not his fault. I think you got a good offensive line. I think you got some receivers. I just don't trust. Outside of DK Metcalf, I really don't know who's your number 2 receiver. I like the tight end, but man, oh man, Pittsburgh just feels like a team that's just not gonna fucking succeed. I don't know what it is, man. And plus, on top of that, being in the AFC North with the Baltimore Ravens, in the Cincinnati Bengals. Ah, good fucking luck, dude. Orange, panic time. That is the Dallas Cowboys. I could have gave you DOA, motherfuckers. Be happy that you had panic time. Cowboys. Like I said, play against Philly this upcoming weekend. Who shit am I afraid for the Cowboys this year? Yeah, you might can score 30 points. Keyword, might can score 30 points this year. But your defense is gonna give up 40. And that's kind of the goddamn problem. If your defense is gonna give up 40, and that's kind of the goddamn problem. I don't trust the Cowboys for shit. I didn't trust the Cowboys coming into the season to begin with. And when they had Michael Parsons, I thought this team was gonna suck the whole year before they even traded Michael Parsons. So what the fuck you think I think of these motherfuckers now? I don't think the fucking Cowboys are gonna be good at all this year. I think what you just did was secure that you're gonna be in the top five, but you're hoping and praying Green Bay just sucks to get a top 10 pick, and that might not happen for at least 2 years. And you might have to end up trading those two picks to begin with because you might look around and be like, damn, we need a quarterback and we need one now. We can't wait to draft a quarterback. I think the Dallas Cowboys are obviously going to end up in the top five this year. I don't think a lot of people would have said that before they traded Michael Parsons, but I was the only one on the bandwagon saying I don't see it. I don't see how Dallas is even going to remotely get themselves to a winning situation because you can literally look at the defense and say, who the fuck on that defense was actually somebody that you actually cared about? Michael Parsons, and that's about fucking it. Now you got a situation in Dallas where you have the Michael Parsons. Your cornerback situation is more about trying to take the ball away than actually playing man-to-man, playing coverage, which is a fucking problem. Yeah, you got Kenny Clark, but your problem with the offense of the Cowboys, but your problem with the offense of the Cowboys, I mean, the problem with the Cowboys defense was never that you couldn't stop the run up the middle. Your problem with your defense was when teams stretched you the fuck out on the edges and you couldn't get that done. That's where the fuck the problems were. Look at the Saints game last year. Shit, look at every game they played last year when they played against the Eagles and all these other teams that got running backs that can get out to the outside. You can't contain that, and you just got rid of your best fucking person on that. And even in that sense, it's not just Michael Parsons leaving. You have no pass rush now. DeMarcus Lawrence, who also you didn't want to pay this offseason. DeMarcus Lawrence, who you did not want to play this offseason. He's in Seattle. You let him go because you thought you could work it out with Michael Parsons. And then you end up trading Michael Parsons. The fuck are we doing? Jerry Jones don't know what the fuck he's doing anymore. He hasn't known what he's doing for damn near a decade. That's being generous. I ain't about that for a decade, nigga. Probably longer than that. But I give him a decade. The Cowboys are not fixing this shit no time soon. To the point where you're gonna have to start looking at Dak. Everybody keeps saying Dak Prescott's out. Dak Prescott's gonna probably get traded. Y'all are already writing this man's obituary in the season ain't even start yet. One person I damn sure will sit here and say that can definitely probably dip maybe next year if this shit don't pan out the way it needs to. And that's CeeDee Lamb. I can see CeeDee Lamb being like, man, I want to be a part of this shit. This is a fucking sinking ship. I know you're a part of this shit. I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. I can see it. He already got his money, so it's not like you paying him extra. He already got his money. I can see the Dallas Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb going to Dallas Cowboys and be like, look, y'all clearly about to have a rebuild. And I don't want to play with Dak anymore. You got George Pickens. Just let me go. I can see it happening. I don't know if it happens midway through this season because it could happen definitely midway through this season. I can see a team that may need a receiver like a CeeDee Lamb. Now, if this is Washington with Terry McLaurin situation, maybe. But Green Bay, Matthew Golden is just a rookie. I'm not putting all my stock in Matthew Golden. But if Matthew Golden is good, but he's a rookie. Like he can't really do what he needs to do to advance the team. You need that guy. I can definitely see Green Bay. I don't think Dallas is that fucking stupid to trade that literally their two best players to fucking Green Bay. But I can definitely see, let's say Pittsburgh is good this year, and they actually do need a receiver to go with DK Metcalf. I can see Pittsburgh calling them up. I can see San Francisco calling. I can see San Francisco calling. You know, Dallas up this year. I can see it. I can see a lot of scenarios. Baltimore, Kansas City. There's a lot of teams that could possibly call Dallas if this season goes south and goes south very fast to see if they can get CD Lamb. New England. I can see New England even. Like, yeah, Stephon Diggs is great, but what if Stephon Diggs go down again with an injury? God forbid. But what if he go down with an injury again? Now you have to take that decision. You have to make that deal. You can't be stingy with this shit. You got to make that deal. So yeah, Cowboys fans, I'm sorry that your season is I mean pretty much over. You didn't even play a game yet. It feels like your season's already fucking over and you didn't even play a game yet. Holy shit. At least you ain't this team. Red DOA, and that's my team, and that's the Saints. Listen, like I always say, I am a real fucking human being. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. I am a fan of the Saints, but I ain't fucking delusional. And that's my damn problem with people. Some of you motherfuckers are fans, but you are delusional as shit. The Saints did not do anything this preseason, and again, it's preseason. But when you have two quarterbacks that neither one has actually separated themselves in the conversation, you have no quarterback. Spencer Rattler is the starter. Great. I expect that offensive line to be decent this year. I expect this to be okay, offensive line wise. I just don't trust this fucking team. I don't trust the defense we have. I damn sure don't trust the defense we got. Brandon Staley is not a great defensive coordinator. Give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what you think, heard, whatever you put in your goddamn wheelhouse of memory. Brandon Staley is not a great defensive coordinator. He's never been. I am not gonna lie to y'all. I am a Saints fan. I am going to be covering the Saints this whole entire season. Bleed black and gold this Sunday after the Cardinals and Saints game. The reason why I have so little faith in this team is I don't trust fucking that defense, and I damn sure don't trust Brandon Staley. I don't trust nothing about this goddamn team. That's telling you, that should tell you everything. That defense is going to be very fucking interesting. Offensively, I don't think we're going to put up enough points to stay in games. I think we're going to struggle offensively in games. Now, last year's preseason, I didn't really see a lot. And in the first two games, they came out and scored 40 fucking points in the first two games. Great. Do I expect that to happen this year? Fuck no. I will say this, though. If our offensive line is somewhat healthy, we can actually move the ball. But again, it goes to Spencer Rattler. And I don't see it from this kid yet. And I'm not saying you got to go out there and be fucking Jaden Daniels levels of play. No. Brock Purdy would suffice. And I don't even think Brock Purdy is that great. But Brock Purdy would suffice. I hope the Saints don't shit the bed like I think they will. But who knows? That is it. I'll be back next week with more. Like I said, Canelo Crawford will officially be their weekend, their week. Talk about that. Crazy Six again next week. Eyes on Football, Big Four, and of course Levels of Warning. Will it be the same teams? Will it be different teams? Who knows? Let's see how this all plays out. This whole week, it is officially week 1 of the NFL season. So if you are a super duper fan of football, like most of us, all of us are mainly, this is our Christmas. Let's be real. This is our Christmas. We have college and NFL both back same week. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just personally say we made it through the summer. Football is here. We're here. All right. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.